It's at the end of the last page. I've got some news.
Hey everybody, if you're getting for NaNoWriMo, I wanted to let you know about a little class I'm teaching on the Speakeasy platform. I'll be teaching NaNoWriMo Boot Camp on Tuesday, October 12th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. You can sign up at speakeasy.com. Come in and hang out and let's talk about NaNoWriMo.
But I've only got 50,000 words to go before the end of NaNoWriMo.
This will be I Should Be Writing number 68. Wow. Season 17. And we've got Gwenda Bond and Not Your Average Hot Guy on.
Well, I should be writing. I should be working on my craft. I should be writing. I should be submitting my next draft. But I'm sitting home watching Doctor Who.
Hello, welcome to I Should Be Writing, the podcast for wannabe fiction writers. My name is Myrrah Lafferty, and I stream on Twitch Tuesdays and Thursdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Time and talk about writing, talk about the emotions that go into writing, talk about feeling like crap because of writing, talk about how to handle disappointments when you're writing, and sometimes we talk about craft too. But I am delighted to have one of my favorite people on, Gwenda Bond, talking about her new book and giving writing advice. How are you, Gwenda?
I am good. You know, I've just spent like the last 2 days seeing actual people in real life. And this is almost like seeing you in real life.
Yeah.
Also, Sally the dog was just chewing up some Read a Romance stickers from the Sticker Book Club.
You do realize that dog fans will want those.
Well, actually, I would highly recommend subscribing. I will tweet out a link to the person who does the Romance Landia Sticker Club.
Mm-hmm.
And you get cool stickers every month.
Excellent.
Yeah, we were gone. We stayed overnight somewhere else, and so all of my animals are surrounding me, and will probably create some chaos at some point during this.
That's fine. I've got both dogs in the room. I rarely have both dogs in the room, so we'll see what happens.
Did you ask me a question?
I think I said, "How are you?" You said you've been doing live events, which has got to be absolutely exhausting.
It was fun, but I am definitely going to crash hard after this.
Yeah, I'm sure. I really appreciate you doing this for me on launch week.
No, thank you for having me. It's very exciting.
Again, the problem of doing this show twice a week is if I haven't done much on Tuesday, I don't have much to report on Thursday either. I have done a lot of admin, adulting, boring crap. So while I love to talk about what I'm working on, I can't do that. The exciting weird thing I mentioned last episode is still exciting and weird and not official. So can't talk about that. But Gwenda, can you tell us what you're working on right now?
You no, just kidding. I have a book due November 1st.
Oh, yeah.
Knows.
So what you should be working on. Great, I see.
And, I mean, it will get done. It's hard to launch and write, so I basically just picked up this week.
Yeah.
And next week, hopefully, I can get back into I can be like, I need to hermit to recover and do writing for a couple weeks, and then I have more events. But they're mostly virtual events, which I think are good because you can be, as I am now, with your pajamas on, and also be at home when they're over.
Yeah, but they're also tiring. It's strange how tiring I find streaming. And while it is kind of constantly talking, but it's also, for some reason, this is just, I think our brains still think this is socializing, and whatever socializing does as being tired. Anyway, yeah. Preemie laughed so loud. Preemie, are we talking about you? Do you want to talk about what you're working on, Preemie? Preemie had a book launch on Tuesday as well.
Ah, there we go. You feel the pain.
Yeah. So, good news. I have no good news. I have personal good news, but not something I want to share here, but something that's been stressing me out for quite some time. May have some relief very shortly, and I'm thrilled about it. I think Gwenda knows what I'm talking about, but...
You got away with the murder, is what you're saying.
That's right. That's right. I got away with the murder. They don't suspect a thing. They don't watch this. Sure as hell don't watch my stream, so we're good. Got away with the murder. Gwenda loaned me her murder dress, which
I just ordered a second murder dress.
well, you had to because you loaned the first one to James S.A. Corey. James S.A. Corey wants to know where to get a murder dress.
True.
So, yeah, I have no personal news to share, but something that's been stressing me out a great deal is looks to be improving. Gwenda, do you have any good news to share? And it doesn't even matter. It's like the cat pooped in the box for the first time. That's good enough for here.
No, I mean, this has been a pretty great week, actually. Like, I mean, it's unsettling, and so I'm sure the book is actually tanking, because the events have been fun and well attended, because that's how brains work.
Okay.
Everyone please go buy it so that I can stop being anxious. And that would work, but we could try it. We could give it a try.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it has been a great book launch, actually. As you know, Christopher and I and some other people here started a nonprofit for writers to work in and be in, and so we had kind of a hybrid book launch there, and Scalzi came down, who I have literally known for 20 years, and we were reminiscing about the fact that the first time he came to visit us in Lexington, he slept on a slowly deflating air mattress in the middle of our living room. And this time he stayed at a fancy hotel across the street from the writer's room, which is this space that we have for working writers, and we subsidize it and make it cheap for them to join. It's a nonprofit. And so we had our members there in person, and then he and I did a conversation that went out over Zoom. So it was kind of the best of both worlds. And it's still online. You can go watch it if you really want to. But that was fun. That was a good thing. And then last night I got to see my friend Alex Harrow, who moved to Virginia not too long ago and is in our writing group. So that was also a good thing. And now it's good that all the rest of my events for the next week are virtual, and I don't have to put on clothes.
Pajama pants the whole time.
Pajama. Christopher always says whenever he's folding the clothes, I'm sorry, I can't tell the difference between your actual clothes and your pajamas.
That just means you take really good care of your pajamas.
It just means that pajama life is an important part of my brand.
You know, I right around the beginning of the pandemic, maybe a couple of months in, I realized that all those post-apocalyptic things where women put on tight leather and crap, no, the apocalypse will be in yoga pants.
That's right. No, it will be in house dresses.
Yes.
It will be in your grandma. Our grandmas had it wired. They knew what was up. It's like just wear a slightly thicker nightgown for most of your day.
Yeah. I started to judge. It's like I realized I subconsciously judged the worth of people by deciding who was worth putting a bra on for. So that was interesting. That list of who is worth me, you know. It's not only the pajama pants, but anyway.
For me, it's if I'm not wearing a bra and I have to interact with someone, do I care enough to try and do this number with my arms, folding them over so that I'm not, like, revealing too much to, like, my neighbors.
I love having Gwenda. I don't think you've ever been on my show. I just love talking to Gwenda. Does anybody in chat have any good news they want to share? I don't think I got any in email recently, but
we could tell the story of how we met. You could tell the story of how we met.
But if I don't remember that, then it's going to look really stupid.
It was Carafe Club.
Oh, Carafe Club, yes. It was that year. that beautiful year. 2 new rejections since Tuesday, up to 88 submissions for the year. Underpope, you are amazing.
That is great, though.
Yeah. So y'all tell me, are you hearing applause right now? Because this is a new overlay, and I've just completely screwed everything up. Oh, wait, there it is.
Yay! Someone sold a novel.
Okay. So yes, Underpope's been doing lots and lots of submissions this year, and we very much like to applaud rejections on this show because it means you're a working writer.
Absolutely. I always say, like, rejections just mean you're brave enough to put your stuff out there, and that's the only way you ever get anywhere in this business.
Exactly. Oh, Kids Are Asleep has impending good news. I have a story in an anthology that will be announced next month, and a list of contributors is rad. Awesome. Because it's not announced yet, I'm just going to give you the confetti, but not the applause until it's like out there. That way we can celebrate twice. Also, I can't hear the applause, and that makes me sad. Yeah, thank you, Underpope. I really appreciate the rejection equals working writer attitude because, once I realized it was part of the job, it's easier to deal with. It's just like, well, I mean, it's like the baseball metaphor of nobody hit better than 50% ever in baseball. So they go up to bat and they strike out, or they, get out at first or whatever. It happens a lot. Thank you for the subscription, Catwood. Thank you very much.
I mean, anyone who, no matter what level you're at, you still get rejected. I mean, there might be, like, Stephen King probably does not have to deal with much rejection.
Yeah.
But everyone else, it's just always a fact of life. And I mean, as one of my agents always says, that it's just like when you walk into a bookstore, not every book is for you.
Yeah.
And publishing and placing stuff is exactly the same way. Like, it's all about what you're in the mood for, they're in the mood for that day, that month, and finding that person.
Thank you for subscribing, E.C. Myers.
Yay, our favorite.
Very, very honored. Thank you. I'm up to 20. Wow. That's awesome. 10 more and we get more emotes. So, just saying. I missed Nobilis' good news. I apologize, Nobilis. New contract for next novel only took me 18 months, but still you got it. That's awesome. Congratulations. I feel so Stone Age trying to turn this confetti on with, like, using the software and not my fancy just one button celebration thing. It's just back to the Stone Age for Twitch. Yeah. Did I miss anybody? Well, lately you haven't signed some contracts until after the project is already written and delivered. I'm wondering if I should go that way because selling on outline it's so hard for me. And
I think it's stressful. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds exciting. Like, I just wrote an outline and I got a book deal. And then you're like, now you have to write 100,000 words that match the outline. And maybe you're not good with outlining. Maybe I'm talking about me and not the collective you.
You are good at outlining. But my monitor just went off. Hopefully that you didn't see that. That meant nothing to you. All right.
No, don't think so.
Okay. Yeah, no, I agree. Actually, most of the people I know who've had terrible publishing experiences with books that they've had to, like, keep rewriting is because they were sold on a partial.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened to me.
And the editor has this vision for something that, they've created based on their own projection, right? And so it can sometimes it just doesn't match up. And, but on the other hand, money.
Yes, exactly.
Which we all need to live. So.
Yeah, indeed. All right.
In a perfect world, it would be great to write everything, be able to write everything and not have to worry about selling things in advance for money.
Sell a novel on proposal was on Preemie's writer bucket list right up until it happened.
Yep.
Yeah, it's got its perks, but it's hard to do once you've... It's almost like the selling is the easy part, and then the writing is the very challenging part. Yeah, source of great anxiety. So let's move on from the anxiety. Gwenda wanted to talk about how we met. We were at a convention, Confusion, which I guess isn't happening next year because they would have said something by now.
I think it is happening.
Really?
Or at least tentatively planned, but it's going to be kind of smaller.
Okay, so they don't want me.
No, I don't know about that. I just know, like, Subterranean Press, we usually have a big presence. We decided to give them, support in another way, and not this year because we just weren't sure about inviting guests and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, back when times were more innocent, we would go to the bar and they would do the thing, would order wine, and they do the thing where you order 6-ounce glass of wine. So the first thing the bartender does is pour the wine into a 6-ounce carafe. And then they take the carafe and pour it into the wine glass. And if you have ever worked food service in any capacity, you're thinking, man, you must hate the guys in the back. You really must. Yeah. And I'm just like, why don't we just not worry about the glass and you just give me the carafe? It's the same amount of wine. So I started carrying, the bartender's like, sure. And so she starts giving me my carafes of wine, which looks weird enough for Gwenda to come over and ask what I'm doing. And then we got a number of people.
We had a catchphrase. Just bring the carafe. Yeah. And
then we found, I'm sorry, go on, Gwenda.
Oh, no, I was going to say, I believe I have a slow motion video somewhere of Chrissy Scalzi pouring the wine back into a carafe at our table.
That's awesome. The best part was when the bartender stopped serving carafes to anybody else, so that when we needed our wine, we would have carafes ready. That was the best part. And yeah.
And also, Mur and I were going to write a self-help book called Just Bring the Carafe.
Just Bring the Carafe, yeah.
Outline our philosophy. And when it became a huge bestseller, we were going to build a carafe-shaped mansion that had a fountain of water that poured over the top of the side.
I don't remember that, but I did buy a set of 6-ounce carafes on Amazon. And occasionally I do drink from them.
I love that.
Yeah.
I do the same.
Yeah. So wait, the chat's talking about writing right now.
They're talking about writing.
They're talking about writing. We're talking about wine.
I mean, we are kind of accountability buddies for each other, though.
Oh, we are.
A group of our friends. We check in with each other and bemoan the lack of our writing or
deadlines.
Give each other,
when deadlines are coming.
Give each other killing it if we manage to get words.
Yeah. And yeah. And also, we sometimes do co-writing, which is nice. I'm going to be doing that a lot more in November. But you probably need it before November because you have that book due. Aren't you glad I reminded you of that?
Thanks. I already got a 2-week extension. It was due on October 15th. And I was like, well, that's not going to happen.
Yeah. So, sorry, let me check in with chat one more time. They're talking about delivering chapters to a small group of enthusiastic first readers is an effective way to accomplish that without having an actual legal obligation. That's interesting, Nobilis. Accountability buddy. Yeah, those are good. I can't say that somehow. AC Myers needs to start participating in my writing group again for those deadlines and maybe even write more short stories. That would be awesome. Wine does not help with writing, Preemie. That's one thing I never understood. Maybe it's just because when I have a glass of wine, I've told this is my body saying, all right, we're done. We're done for the day. Good job. And so
actually, I agree with you, except I will sometimes pour myself a glass of wine at the end of the day, like 5 o'clock. Mm-hmm. And especially this time of year, sit outside with the Alpha Smart. And so I'm only having like a couple sips of it and crank out maybe another 500 words.
Wow.
Do people know what an Alpha Smart is here in the chat?
It's a portable writing device that's doesn't
For
have
children.
for children. I didn't know that.
It was originally meant for children. That's why they're indestructible.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. I know some people use these. These are amazing. They don't, but you can get them on eBay for like $25 to $50.
Okay.
And they will last forever. And I believe I've changed the AA batteries in mine once. Yes. Don't forget. You put in the new batteries just in case, because I did lose some stuff once.
Yes.
Yeah, but the best thing about them is then once you type in the words, that's literally how you do it, of course, like Kermit. You type in the words,
yeah.
and then you plug it in. I mean, there's probably another way to do this, but I do it this way, and you put the cursor in your document, and then you get to watch it magically type in as if a ghost is writing your novel.
Oh, neat. Yeah, when I first started taking writing seriously as a kid, my parents gave me a Brother word processor, and it had a screen that was this big, and you write the line, and when you hit the end of the line, the typewriter prints out that line. And so it sounds really impressive. It sounds like you're typing really fast, and then there's like a pause while you write the next line, and then it types it all out. So it's
Christopher is probably the only person in the modern era, let's say, who wrote a Dungeons and Dragons novel, Sandstorm, his tie-in novel, My Husband Christopher Rowe, on a typewriter because he needed the physical artifactness of it. And then, of course, I panicked when it was time to turn it in, and he was running late, and ended up transcribing it and just editing as I went.
Oh my God!
Editing stuff, and so I refer to myself, which Christopher knows I was not asked to do.
Yeah.
I refer to myself as the Gordon Lish of Dungeons and Dragons sometimes.
Why not?
Don't know. Gordon Lish was Raymond Carver's editor, who apparently trimmed all his stuff down. And for a long time, if you talked about Raymond Carver and Gordon Lish on the internet, Raymond Carver's wife would show up in your comments section and talk about how Gordon Lish destroyed his work.
Wow. So, I want to talk about your book, but I do want to bring up, y'all remind me, I want to talk about Under Pope's comment about, I have a friend who no longer writes, because I have many feelings about that kind of thing. But Gwenda is here, and we got to talk about her book at some point. So you show your book, because I'll miss the top half because of the chroma key. So show us your awesome book and the cross-genre-ing that you did.
Yeah,
that's a verb now, by the way.
Yeah. It's a mashup. It's a fantasy rom-com. It is, I mean, you could shorthand it as some have, as my friend Alice calls it, The Good Place but Sexy. Good Omens with more kissing. It is a classic screwball romantic comedy about a girl who has graduated with a history degree and can't find a job, which seems to be a lot of people relate to that. I've been contacted already by so many history majors.
Oh, wow, really?
Like, this really maps onto my experience, including a friend of mine who literally then went on to be like a rocket scientist or something.
Wow.
There were no jobs for history majors. So she is working at her mother's business, which is an escape room, to have something to do. And she has inadvertently bought and placed a real grimoire in one of the rooms, and a cult shows up when she and her best friend are minding the place for the weekend to steal it. And they end up getting kidnapped along with it. And the cult accidentally summons, they mean to summon a certain demon. They accidentally summon the son of Lucifer, who is very attractive, thinks of himself as a bad boy, but really isn't. And because of certain mistakes that are made, they end up having to prevent the apocalypse. So it's basically, I decided to write a light, fun rom-com that literally involves a journey through hell.
Neat.
Yeah.
I like how the first part, there's the whole Sandman callback to capturing dream instead of death.
Oh, I had not thought about that.
Yeah.
But a little bit, yes.
Yeah, a very small bit. I'm not saying you copied. I'm just
no,
saying that's what it reminded me of.
The actual reason it's not Lucifer and instead I made the hero Luke is to get around that whole creepy 1,000-year-old dude dating a 22-year-old thing.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
So creating, not that I don't love many of those books, but it does create questions for me that I'm not cool with. And so, having two 22-year-olds who have, are trying to figure out, I mean, as we all do at that age and even after, like our relationship with our parental expectations and what, our lives are going to be moving forward in terms of being separate from our families and figuring out what we're going to do with our lives. So, obviously if your dad is Lucifer, he's got some major daddy issues of his own.
Yeah, and I bet he's, major.
So that's the book.
Awesome. Well, my brain just
the series structure is book to a romance. So yes, honestly, when I wrote this first one, I thought, well, I'll just put this epilogue on that sort of nods at the future. And my editor was like, it feels like there's so much more world, and so rarely I think I've got the opportunity. I mean, frankly, I was shocked that this book sold. I just started writing it and it kind of fell out of my brain, and I would go back to it and work on it in between other deadlines, convinced that no one would want it. Because paranormal rom-com wasn't really a thing until apparently like last week. It became a hot genre again. So, like the X-Hex, Rachel Hawkins as Aaron Sterling's first paranormal rom-com is like sold out everywhere. So apparently now this is something people want. Hopefully that extends to mine. But at the time I did not think there would be a market for it. And I sent it to my agent and she was like, yeah, I have a lot of questions. You're going to have to write this whole thing for me to sell it. It turned out later she actually hates this kind of book, but didn't want to say that. But then once I wrote the whole thing, she was like, okay, I love this one. And I didn't want to say anything up front, but I usually hate this kind of
Yeah, but if she thought she could sell it, do you think she would have?
Oh, sure. Look, I have two agents actually, so I should specify. This was my kids and YA agent who sold this book, and now I have an adult agent that handles my adult projects. But she is very much just has let me follow the whims of what I want to do at any given time, which is good because I'm very obstinate and have issues with authority, and she gets that. So it's like, I'm going to do it. But yeah, so how did the second book, the publisher was like, I feel like there's more here. My editor thought there is, just implied in the ending. And so I thought it would be very interesting because the book, one, takes place over a 48-hour period, right? And so it's almost like The Weekend Meet Cute, right? And so and I think a lot of times when you have those kind of stories like Speed, and we won't talk about Speed 2, but like Speed, where there's clinch at the end, but we don't know like how that relationship actually works out afterward. So doing the second book enabled me to both enlarge the world, but also to take a look at their relationship a little bit further on and see how it is it going to work, because that's they're from two different worlds, to say the least. And so they will. It's a romance. These are both happy for now and the first one, happy ever after. But getting to take them on like another big world-spanning journey, add new characters, add new locations, was a lot of fun.
That is an interesting thing that I think I've seen enough people do well that whoever says it's not possible is kind of just lazy. But I'm thinking about the people who do, I'm thinking about SpiderMan. Really. I'm thinking about SpiderMan. Every couple of years, SpiderMan gets Mary Jane. She finds out, they fall in love, they get married, something happens, Mary Jane knows, there's new conflict, and then retcon.
Right.
And I found out when I was doing a lot of weird freelance writing, like about 17 or 18 years ago, and I was trying to cover the JMS, J. Michael Straczynski run of The Amazing Spider-Man. And I'd heard that the head of Marvel had just said, you know what? You can't. You lose all the tension when you get the people together. You lose any questions. You lose the tension. You lose the romance. So we have to completely retcon that so they can fall in love again. And that's like, of course, way down the list of everything else Spider-Man needs to do. But the Mary Jane problem is can't do that. And it's like you look at. I know it's got its issues, but you look at Friends. It was still funny and romantic well after the marriage of Monica and Chandler, and seeing them work together as a couple was really interesting.
I mean, as you know, someone who wrote a trilogy about young Lois Lane and Superman, I couldn't agree more. Yeah. It's bullshit. And in fact, the relationship makes both of those characters more interesting when it is written well and they are allowed to be together on the page. And you know, there's the whole women in fridges history in comics is particularly bad at this. I would hope that it will get better as we have more creators who have different ideas about women and the world.
Yeah.
and you know, the role of those characters and stories. I mean, I feel like there's just all of these legacy female characters in particular that DC and Marvel have that the tip of the iceberg has barely surfaced. They have been so underused and are just leaving money on the table.
Do I remember correctly that it was announced like today that Agatha gets her own limited series from?
I don't know, but I hope so.
I think I read that somewhere.
I haven't been online much, but that would
you're
be great.
A little busy right now.
I mean, I have been online much, but just retweeting things about my book.
Yeah, well, of course. It's priority, man.
And also reading the threads about how that Zodiac killer thing was way underbaked.
Yeah.
And the kidney story.
Which is why we named this episode You Need Better Friends, I believe. Isn't that right?
Yeah, because as we were talking, I was like, the moral of the story is, like, hang out with better writers. Hang out with better people.
Exactly.
I did not, because, you know, like, Mur and I are friends, so obviously I'm not saying, like, we need to get better friends. Other writers need to get better friends.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, you've got the people thinking about the, how we're fighting against each other. And, you know, I've only seen that once. Unfortunately, it was me against George R. R. Martin. You can guess who won, but
you, right?
He had wanted to reboot Wild Cards when I had a superhero book on Patrick Nielsen Hayden's desk. And Patrick told me that they were really close to buying it, but they didn't want to buy too many superhero books, so they bought.
No, I feel
they
bad
rebooted Wild Cards.
I'm in the Wild Cards. I'm in the Wild Cards world.
I've moved on. It's okay. Yeah. I just think it's funny. That's the only time I've ever seen that kind of thing happen.
Also, I love. Oh my gosh! Like, how have times changed that we're like somebody who's worried about having too much superhero content?
Yeah, exactly.
I believe we've learned that there can never be enough.
No, definitely not. This was 2007. And thank you for the Team Mur calls in chat. I did not notice Scorn Shell subscribed. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Thanks for supporting the stream. And I'm checking to see if I've fixed this bot, because I really do want to do a giveaway of your book. It looks like things might be fixed now, I think. Yes. Oh, God. Thank you. I'm going to wake up tomorrow and Twitch is going to say, hey, we're helping. We wiped everything clean again. All right. So what I wanted to talk about with Underpope's thing is it's interesting because I've felt that too. When you have a friend who says they want to quit writing, and it's a major, there's so many emotions, because there's first of, why the hell would you do that? And then there's, well, I want to respect your wishes. I'm not going to try to badger you into this. And then of course there's the projection, because if your friend quits, that means you can quit, and you don't want to quit. I mean, I had some close friends tell me they were getting divorced, and like, we didn't get married around the same time, but we had met our significant others around the same time, and for some reason I was really just sort of upset, not like weeping, just sort of like, what is happening to the world? These were two couples that were supposed to like just have our happy lives and hang out as couples, and what's going on? And it's, for some reason, it was a lot of projection. And I think that happens when we do that. I remember when I went to Viable Paradise, one woman went and did the whole week of workshops. It was a lot of fun. Liked hanging out with her. And when she got home, she's like, this workshop has shown me I don't want to be a writer. And my first thought was, no!
But it's actually probably healthy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think a lot of it is the reason the person stopped writing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I mean, and also whether or not it's permanent or a break. I mean, we certainly have known people in our friend group who have felt like they were at the end of their rope and needed to take like a year or two off. And then I have often found, for myself personally, giving myself permission to take a little break, a day or two off of a project that I'm struggling with, actually, like, being able to not feel like I have to do it enables it. And I feel like it's been the same for those people that then a month or two later, they're writing a new project because they got to sort of do the thought experiment of, what if I didn't have to do this?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to close out the podcast right now, and we can keep talking. We'll do a giveaway. Didn't want to bother the feed listeners in the future about the giveaway, so because I just got it set up. So thank you for listening to I Should Be Writing. If you want to get in touch with me, you can contact mightymur@gmail.com or check out merverse.com, where you can see all of my many projects. Gwenda, where can we find you online?
At Gwenda on Twitter, and gwendabond.com is my website. Gwenda Bond on Instagram. Those are the places where I waste time the most.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the show, Gwenda. Thank you to everybody in chat. Remember to, if you can't support via Patreon, patreon.com/mightymur, then you can support with a review. You can support with just telling a friend about the show. Really appreciate it. Word of mouth is awesome. And I'll see you next Tuesday, because you should be writing. I Should Be Writing is available to you under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives license. Theme music by John Anelio. Art by Numbers Ninja. Production by Summer Brooks. And hosting by Libsyn. Find all of this information and more at merverse.com. And remember, we can't do this without you. Thanks for your support.
But I should be writing. I should be working on my craft. I should be writing. I should be submitting my next draft. But I'm sitting home watching Doctor Who. Yeah, I'm sitting home watching Doctor Who.